Good day, my SM viewers. If you are new to the channel, kindly like, share, subscribe, and please do not forget to hit the notification bell. Let's look at this statement coming from Gowon. Of course, according to Gowon, he's saying Biafra Civil War was not his choice. I will be bringing Ojuku's perspective by playing Ojuku's video for us to understand the sense of what we are discussing, for us to understand what transpired before that war and what led to the war. But before I bring in Ojuku's video, let me read so that you have insight of what Gowon is saying. I'm reading from Daily Post. Biafra war, not my choice, Gowon. You go for that, they say that former military head of state, General Yakubu Gowon, has said the Biafra Civil War was never his choice. He described the Civil War as the most difficult period of his life. He also disclosed that his decision to prosecute the Biafran Civil War was never born out of hatred. Gowon explained that he prosecuted the Civil War due to the urgency to preserve national unity. The former ruler called for forgiveness, reconciliation, and unity across faiths and ethnicities. In the concluding part, he equally reminded everybody that after the war, it was declared that no victor, no vanquish. And let me equally bring another of his perspective before I will bring in Ojuku's perspective for us to have a sense of what we are discussing here. I'm equally reading from Daily Post. He said, Biafra Civil War, painful episode in Nigeria. Military shifted democracy, coming from Gowon. You go for that, so that former Nigerian military head of state, Yakubu Gowon, has identified the Biafra Civil War as the most painful episode in Nigeria's history. Gowon, however, insisted that the military preserved Nigeria's unity during the Civil War. The former ruler, who spoke in Abuja on Wednesday, also affirmed that military rule stifled democratic development and civil liberties in Nigeria. Now, let me quickly say that personally, I strongly disagree with the position of Gowon, because we are looking at what actually transpired, though I will play Ojuku's video shortly. But quickly, on the basis of one, who breached the Aburi Accord? Why did Gowon, after Aburi Accord, decide to abandon all the agreements reached in Aburi? And it is regrettable that even the current quest to have Nigeria restructured was already contained in the Aburi Accord. For instance, the state police that everybody is yearning for, that look like if it becomes a game changer for our serious security challenge, was contained in the Aburi Accord. The military formation, how to structure it, was contained in the Aburi Accord. So how can Gowon, in all honesty, tell Nigerians, the world, that the Biafra Civil War was not his choice? He had a choice to accept agreements he participated in, talking about the Aburi Accord. He equally had the choice of abandoning it. Of course, abandoning it led to the Civil War. So I think I totally disagree with Gowon. Then the second area where I totally disagree with him is he equally echoed, though he was always saying it during the war, that to keep Nigeria one is a task that must be done. He has succeeded in keeping Nigeria one. But after the war, he said no victor, no vanquish. And he came up with the idea of 3R, talking about reconstruction, reconciliation, and integration of the Igbos into the Nigerian project. So many years after the Civil War, during the time of Gowon, did Gowon do anything in that regard in terms of reconstructing the region that was ravaged, talking about the eastern region that was ravaged by that Civil War? Obviously, no. Did Gowon do anything in terms of reconciliation, reconciling the people of the region, the southeastern part of the country, back into Nigerian project? No. The last one, reintegration. Were they properly reintegrated into Nigerian project? Obviously, no. So you can clearly see that I am disagreeing with the position of Gowon on the basis of these facts. But I will play Ojuku's video where he stated his own side of the story for you to have a sense of what we are saying here. Let us watch Ojuku.
At Aburi, yes, we agreed on area commands for the armed forces. At Aburi, we agreed that the police force will be decentralized. We agreed on those. Yes. We agreed. Even to show that we didn't separate, at Aburi we also agreed on certain revenue formula. That's what happened at Aburi. Aburi again, because I always end up, it sounds odd today, but I always end up by saying I must have been naive, because I believed actually that would be the end. I'll confess to you, when I got back to Enugu, oh yes, I had a party, believing that probably the danger was over. That's what we thought. Until they then began to deny everything. It was the denial of Nigeria that made me publish the tapes of Aburi, because we had insisted that each one should have a set of tapes. Everybody talks about confederation. Go and look at the transcript. There is no time that the word confederation came from my lips.
You are welcome back. So the point here is, we understand that it was actually Gowon who was the military head of state of Nigeria during that civil war. He was the one that was always saying to keep Nigeria warm, it's a task that must be done. We understand that at Aburi, it was agreed, even though it didn't come from Ojukwu himself, that there was going to be confederation and what looks like today restructuring. It was not a recommendation from Ojukwu, but at the end of the day, that is what was adopted. By implication, they were to decentralize the policing system. They were to break the military system into different formation. Of course, it was a total overhaul and rejigging of Nigerian system. And again, when Gowon decided to abandon the Aburi Accord and the war broke out after Ojukwu declared the sovereign state of Biafra, and he declared war against the Biafra. The same Gowon that rejected the confederation went back to create 12 additional states in what he's claiming today to try to bring development closer to the people. But the major issue that sought to address every concern of all the regions that would have set Nigeria on the path of development, on the path of growth, was abandoned by the same Gowon. So for me, I don't think Gowon is justified to start telling the Nigerians, though there's every need to for forgiveness, but to start saying that the civil war was never his choice, I don't think I agree with him in any way, because he had a choice, one, to accept the Aburi Accord, abide by it, and it will be implemented. Even as you have said, even outside what was discussed at Aburi, that he even pledged that after implementation of all the terms of the agreement, that he will be the one to recommend that Gowon will be made the president of the United States of Nigeria. But at the end of the day, it didn't happen because Gowon abandoned the Aburi Accord at a point. So the question is, Gowon cannot tell Nigerians, cannot tell the world that the Biafra war was not his choice. Because he had a choice to accept the Aburi Accord. He had a choice to abandon it. So it was not honorable for him to abandon it, and he did. So for me, I think it was his choice to go for that war. And it was avoidable because the essence of avoiding the war was the essence of going to Aburi to have that agreement, to have that conversation, to have that deliberation, to have that dialogue. And it was fruitful because at the end of the day, all the parties involved agreed that there was going to be a restructured Nigeria to confederation. So for me, I think Gowon should better, in a more polite way, apologize to Nigerians, to everyone, for the civil war, instead of telling us that the civil war was not his choice. And again, if you look at Nigeria of today, under democracy, look at the way things are skewed against the Igbos, against the southeastern part of the country, you equally begin to ask, has the civil war actually ended? Because I understand that Nigerian constitution do not recognize zoning, and though there is tacit zoning in Nigeria, unwritten, it's understandable that if they not rule for 8 years, South will have to rule for 8 years. It's understandable. That was explain the reason after Obasanjo ruled for 8 years, he went back to the north for Yar'Adua to have a shot at the Aso Rock. Though Yar'Adua did not stay to complete his 8 years, Jonathan came in, and after Jonathan, he went back to the north, Muhammadu Buhari, who stayed there for another 8 years. The Biafran evangelists, let us look at what is happening currently, sequel to this security ravaging different parts of the country, talking about Nigeria. As you can see, the Fulani military seem to be getting it hot this time around. We can see the military in different parts of their theater of operation registering victory. And this did not happen until even Trump himself made it clear that they are going to have Nigeria fight insecurity. At the time, even the commander of America for Africa, Air Force commander for America and Europe, just Hecker, make it very clear that they will be targeting terrorists in Africa. Now that Fulani is on the run, because even in Benue, the Fulani military that was caught was begging. He said, I beg, make I call my mama first. Let me get her take.
Hey, you know, this is one of the things I remember humble sir. One and the only evangelist Benjamin Johnson, this is Nachi, the one and the only Biafran evangelist. You know, if you have been following me up, you will agree with me that this is the kind of news I've been expecting from the military. This is the kind of news I've been expecting, I've been pondering, I've been saying it, that I still stand to quote and unquote of what late Sani Abacha quoted, that anything that escalated on over 24 hours, the government hand is there. Listen to me. The mighty Allah now is on the run and they are on their knees begging. The reason is that the Federal Republic of Nigeria have now watched my video and they now concur with my statement. It is time to give them woto. Match them tooth to tat, leg to leg, one on one, eye to eye. By the time you give it to them, definitely there will be peace. The insecurity will stop. They are just bragging because they are. I could remember during the tenure of Muhammadu Buhari, you see these people acting. If police or army want to rise up, you know, up to expectation to act according to what they signed to do, you will hear say, "Order have not come from above." Which above are you waiting for? When you are supposed to protect the people.
Because of what you said, there is a trending video of a local government chairman in Benue State who was addressing the presence of a high-ranking police officer. And he was telling them that even the police is saying they cannot act until they get order to fight.
Yes, you say you want to get order to do what you're supposed to do. In the very first place, what did you sign? Is it not to protect life and property, to protect the citizen in any condition, in all circumstances? Why is it that you are waiting? Those ones did not wait to take order and they are acting. You as a uniform person, you that is authorized and given power to move by the Federal Republic of Nigeria, you have the audacity and the power, the right, what it takes to do the right thing at the right time. When you see people going illegal against the law, what are you supposed to do? You stand up, you are the one that government have empowered to act. Then you are telling me you are waiting for somebody to empower you, to give you go ahead before you do your job. That is to tell you that you don't know what you are doing. And that is to tell you too, based on what Sani Abacha have earlier said, that means true, that the government hand is involved. But now that the military has officially stood up on their ground to do the needful, that means internationally they are seeing it that, Baba, let us be sincere. Let us be sincere. You know, the turning down of Canada to CDS Musa and other 70 soldiers in Nigeria is a very huge slap in the face of Nigerian military.
Even the deportation of Shehu Gumi.
Then look at somebody like Shehu Gumi. He did not travel to a Christian nation. He traveled to Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia is an Islamic nation. But look at the way they say that father back to sender. as they say back to sender, that info that you are carrying out, that activities you are sponsoring, you are carrying out partnering with, bargaining in Nigeria, you must not bring it here. They rejected it. That is a nation that hates terrorism. So this have played immensely to the memory, to the mindset, and to the heart of every Nigerian reasonable person to know that these people are not supposed to be welcome, that the government of Nigeria is supposed to wake up and let the military stand up in their office and do their duty the way it should.
Now, the way it is, because we understand that, just like I told you earlier on, that James Hecker, of course, American Air Force Commander for Europe and Africa, was emphatic that they were going to target terrorists in Africa. Today, they are back here in Nigeria. You have ISWAP, you have Boko Haram, you have Fulani military.
We have Mahmouda.
You have Mahmouda, aka Malan Group. Of course, if you are looking at Fulani military, the global terrorists that say that the fourth most dangerous terrorist organization in the world. Is this something you welcome, that they should come here and bomb them?
Baba, if there is any word to use beside or above bombing, they should come up with it. 100% welcome. They should come and deal with these people. See, let me tell you, you see this thing that everybody is crying, separation, separation, and whatsoever. It was as a result of the activities and the evil activity character of these people. That is why Nigeria is comfortable again. No Nigeria is happy being a citizen of this country. Everybody is on the run. Imagine the former head of state, a person of Gowon now, is on the run.
How do you mean that he's on the run?
He's no longer in Plateau State. Gowon don't run come up from village.
You know, have traveled now.
Which travel? He will not tell you the truth now. See Brutai village, I'm telling you. Tukwa Brutai village has been vandalized.
Chief of Army Staff.
Yes, now the one who went to Masenam the Kano house and vandalized it, his own village has been vandalized too. By who? Boko Haram.
But how do you see it? Someone like Trump speaking directly to Nigerian situation in terms of insecurity, particularly the Fulani military.
Because those ones are killing the Christians, they are taking the life of Christians, they pay us for here. Because in the name of they want to take over Nigeria as a jihadist Islamic nation ideology. That is why the Christians in the whole Nigeria are suffering elimination, early deaths. Look at Taraba. Look at Kebbi State. Look at Kogi now. And I want to talk about what is already happening in Benue and Plateau. As I speak to you, the one they call Buhari have run out of Katsina. He ran to Kaduna. From Kaduna now, as I speak to you currently now, he has run out of Nigeria.
That is your former president.
Your former president.
I'm talking about Muhammadu Buhari.
Muhammadu Buhari now, that is Nigerian president. I'm a Biafran. I have my nation, I know where I come from.
Now let us take our attention.
President, former president.
Let us take our attention to the angle of the Prime Minister of Israel, who was emphatic about the protection of the Jew globally.
Yes.
I understand that the Igbos of the Jew extraction.
Bam.
What do you make of that statement?
Yes, it is the high time that the Jewish nation should rise up to go against those that are going against their brothers in the diaspora of the world. It is the high time that the Jewish should know that they are as brothers elsewhere. You know, Jewish are scattered, remember? There was no Jewish nation like Israel before until the end of Second World War that ended in 1944 to 45. Before the Jewish Israel you are seeing today now came up to stand a nation in 1947 to 1948, that today they stand, you are seeing them today. So they need to, let me tell you, there is something that Europeans say one certain time. Is it Putin or who that make that statement? Do you know what Netanyahu say? He said that the Jewish Israel used their blood to get their independence. He said nobody give them independence, that they fought for it.
But let me ask this question.
So it is a high time that they should rise in the diaspora. Biafra is one of them, the Jewish Igbos.
Let me ask this question. If Benjamin Netanyahu is calling on the world to protect the Jew, is it safe to say he's calling for the protection of Igbos?
Of course, yes. Now,
why asking this question is, I saw the video where some Israeli were emphatic that if you go to their website, you clearly see Igbos as the lost tribe of Israel.
Of course, yes, Igbos. Let me tell you, go to your Bible, you will see Abia. Abia is in the Bible. In the book of Genesis, there is an Abia there. And Abia have become a state in Igbo land. So we are the original, the foundation, the root of the Jew.
So maybe
the lost.
The Igbo have been traced to the Bible.
Of course, we have our traces from the Bible. We are the lost tribe. And we migrated from the third child, the third son of Adam, in person of sex, of which, let me tell you, we originated from, I don't know, you hear a man called Jared. That is the second longest living man on earth after Methuselah. Methuselah lived 969 years. Jared lived 962 years. And that is where Biafra come from, Igbos. That is where our generation come from. And all these people are the generation from Seth, the third son of Adam.
Okay, now let us look at, by extension, the North calling on the government to listen to the Carlos. According to them,
they know that our SARS to be precise.
Yes, they are saying that the government already have so much in their hands that releasing Nanakalo is going to relieve government, and of course
it's going to relieve them in terms of expenses. Do you know how much Nigeria spend each day? Mazen Namdekano appears in the court. Do you know how much Nigeria spend? Do you know how much Nigeria stand to lose in a matter that is not called for? The money that you're supposed to use to do something meaningful to the society, they are using it in the name of Mazen Namdekano court case that don't have value, case that don't have weight. You are going to the court and you are losing. Look at the video, the trending video, where they say Mazen Namdekano admitted this, Mazen Namdekano said this. Well, after playing that video, there was a place Mazen Namdekano was screaming so seriously, my lawyer is not here and my lawyer is supposed to be here.
No, and that is his interrogation at the DSS.
That's what I'm saying.
Because according to the judge, he said that though the administration of justice, criminal justice system, say you may have your lawyer present or not, with meaning whether your lawyer is there or not, but that there are so many court judgments that make it compulsory that your lawyer must be there when you are being interrogated. And apart from that, Nanakalo was heard repeatedly say you are interrogated me in the absence of my lawyer. I cannot turn a blind eye to that. That he did not throw away that interrogation.
Because it was under duress, and duress means going against your fundamental human rights.
Meaning somebody was coerced, somebody was
intimidated, somebody was forcefully to admit what it doesn't supposed to.
But the basis of which the judge threw away the evidence is because he was interrogated outside without the presence of his
lawyer. That is why it was. So if you watch all this, what Nigerians actually stand, what are they looking for, what they actually stand to gain in this, you will discover and you will agree with me that this court case, in the case of Mazen Namdekano, is meaningless, and Nigeria stand to spend a lot of money each time you appear in the court. And what is the essence? The previous court that you have appeared, what did Nigeria gain? Which profit has it contributed in Nigerian economy? That should be the angle we should be looking at it. Which profit has this given to them? So in this case, and this young man standing a chance, always in a very transparent mood, in a very transparent way, and you see that this man is being held illegal. That is not supposed to be there by now.
If I may even ask this question, though even UN working group on arbitral detention have asked the Nigerian government to release the man, because we understand that even part of our people before now have rules that Nanakalo was extraordinary rendition for Kenya to Nigeria. As such, it should be released unconditionally.
Unconditionally.
Nigerian government appealed that case. That way it stands. Will you advise that government should go for a political solution or continue and finish all this case?
Whether they continue or they want to go on a political solution, whichever way, Binta have already given an opinion that they should go out of court and sort out these things, which Mazen Namdekano himself, he did not revolt against this. He admitted it. He said he will go with Nigeria, with the way Nigeria, but it all depends as Nigerian court, what they come up with, that's what we make him to go to settle with them out of the court. But if they now come illegal, in order for them to use it against him tomorrow, he will not admit to that, and he cannot welcome it. And I concur with him, I agree with him.
So in a nutshell, you have the opinion that the case should be concluded logically.
Logically in the court, so that they will hold it as an evidence. According to Nigerian court law, see how I've been vindicated, and on this I stand.
But if I may ask, as a war pattern, do you think when Nnamdi Kanu eventually gets his freedom, is he likely going to carry on with the agitation?
Why not? If not, that was what landed him there, and that was what kept him up to now. Do you think that Nnamdi Kanu is somebody that you can influence or bribe? No. If it is all about bribery or selfish-centered, he would have settled with Nigeria ever since and get out of that place. So he will continue on what landed him there until he finishes it. Because on this note, this process of struggle led to the death of his father and mother, and the vandalizing and destroying many of his properties and his image. And do you know how many people that died every day, even in his house? So he cannot just throw all those things away like that. So he definitely will continue until he gets what he wants.